Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back. So, today, beautiful April afternoon. Sunny outside, no clouds. Little breeze, I'd say like 2, 3 miles an hour. And it's like 90 degrees today. It's beautiful here in Florida. Can't beat it. But, don't move here, we're full. But, alright, guys. We basically kind of ended up over our last 2 weeks of training. Kind of failed all of our big lifts twice in a row. So the deficit and the dropping of body weight, the lower calories, and the fact we've been in a strength block for basically 6.5 months, it's finally caught up. Or we've put on as much strength as we're currently going to put on. And I can feel it in the central nervous system. Some of the lighter weights are starting to feel heavier. The engagement of the muscle itself just kind of feels flat. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, if you go to squeeze something and you know how hard you can squeeze something, but then, like, say your hands are super cold or something, and you go to squeeze it, how you can't really squeeze it at that full strength. Like, everything just kind of feels like that. So, central nervous system's taxed. It's ready for a break, which happens when you're pushing 1 rep maxes every week. You know, your body, your brain, your muscle fibers, all that stuff just takes a big toll. So, it's we're transitioning into our hypertrophy phase, which we've started for the last 3 days. So, we started on our heavier chest day, quote unquote, which is still heavy, but we'll just call it our flat bench day, flat chest day. And so instead of pushing for 345 again, we went ahead and we set our training up to 5 sets. This is how everything is now. It's 5 sets. First 2 sets are warm-up weight. 50% and 75% of the working weight set. Then our working weights, if it is a 1 rep max, we went to 70% of that 1 rep. So my current flat bench went from 345 to 235. So we now hit that for 3 sets, 10 to 15 reps. I was able to bang out 10 reps for these 3 sets. No way I could get to 15 yet. But when we get to 15 reps, we'll add 5 pounds and then just kind of work our progression off of that. If we get to 15, we add weight. If we can't do 10, we take a little weight off. So we kind of dial it in for basically it's going to be the next few months. I was thinking about 3-4 months of a hypertrophy block. You know, help. We're still going to work on getting leaner. The deficit's going to stay. Cardio is going to stay for the most part. I don't think we're going to get rid of it. So I do want to be leaner. And basically, I've talked about it off and on of maybe wanting to compete. So I did try to do that before we broke our arm and didn't lift for 8 years. Now I'm getting back into it. I kind of have that urge again. So we're going to talk about that for this video. I'm 37 and a half. I'll be almost 38 at the show I'm considering. It's September 19th, Lakeland, Florida, NPC event. I qualify for 4 divisions currently. True novice, because I've never competed ever before. Novice, which is anyone who hasn't won an event, which I haven't, because I haven't competed. Masters, which is 35 plus, so I'm over that. As well as I can compete in the Men's Physique Open. All of this is all men's physique, is what I'd be competing for. I'm not big enough to be in Classic. I don't know if I want to be big enough to compete in Classic. So, now with that, I still got to be respectably for novice 180, 185 pounds stage weight, which is about where I'd fall right now, because I'm 218 and 20% body fat. So if I was to cut down, be super conditioned, I'd fall right around 183 to 187. So if I'm in that range, be pretty golden. Pros, we're kind of falling around that 190 to 200 mark. Me to be at that weight now, by the time that show comes around, I don't think I'd be lean enough. Now, I mean, obviously there's the possibility of performance enhancements, which in reality would probably make that a fair possibility at where I'm starting at currently. So, and the NPC is untested, which I have to compete in. I cannot compete tested because I am on TRT, so I take testosterone. We've already made a video about that, but my current dosage, only 160 milligrams a week. It has my total test at 1,000. So I am on that high end, very high end for natural. There are some people up there that are natural, but I am slightly above the average for sure. So I'm not going to say I'm in natural levels, because I'm pushing at the very end of that scale, and I'm not the average when it comes to that. So now, as you guys know, that's a recent thing. That's only been for the last couple months. It did not really change my strength gains at all. I still made the same progress I would have made as I have before. And truthfully, it actually made me gain weight. It's made me extremely fucking hungry. So it's made losing weight way more difficult than it was the last 2 years when I've gone through this phase and dropped down to the low 200s. That 200 to 202 mark. Now, that is, something else to realize is, for most people, it's going to make it easier to eat and get bigger. But it is going to make it a whole lot harder for you to be lean. So, there is that. The biggest thing I saw with that changing was my sleep. My sleep's gotten a whole lot better. Now, as for the competing thing, since I have 4 classes available to me, I will probably, if I do decide to go ahead and compete, I will do all 4 classes, just because when I do all 4, it's going to allow for me to get the most stage time possible per show, right? This being my first show, the biggest thing I could pull from it is going to be stage time. Now, do I know what the competition is going to look like? Nope. Never competed. Don't know anyone who currently competes. And so we're going to see where we go with that. Now, Am I going to have to figure out where my lacking body parts are? Yes, 100%. The nice thing is, we're basically a smidge over 5 months away from that event. So, that gives me some time, obviously, to bring up lagging body parts, or at least what I feel is lagging. Which for me, definitely biceps, triceps, lower lats, chest. I could probably work on a little upper chest, but I don't think it's going to develop just fine. I'm not going to have to put a large focus on it. But lats, definitely feel like I need to get bigger. I definitely need to train abs more. I do not train them enough. And with that, it's kind of what I'm thinking. So we'll see what happens. And I may or may not start looking into a coach to kind of guide me over the next 5 months. But man, I know that stuff's expensive. So we might just, be going at it all on our own. Taking, for the most part, that Sam Sulek approach. I like being in the gym. I like doing gym stuff. I'm starting to like trying to pose. And I do like seeing the progress. Most of all, I like the way it makes me feel. I feel a lot healthier these days. So, with being on the whole disability thing for being blind as shit, it will for sure give me a nice solid goal to be working towards. Not only that, like I have the time to dedicate to it, right? And I think that's what a lot of people trying to compete kind of lack, is the time to dedicate. Now, don't get me wrong, there's crazy motivated people out there that work 14 hours a day plus train and eat their diet. So that's a whole different story, but I'm going to say I get to be in a unique position to be able to focus on it and try and make my YouTube content be, viable for this processing experience, really, right? So that's where we're going to leave today off, is basically 70% chance as of right now today I'm going to shoot to compete on September 19th.